This is Miranda at 11th Hour LDS podcast on YouTube. If you uh, get value from my podcasts, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. As well as if you have questions, please email me at 11th hour LDS at gmail.com. The reason I'm doing this particular podcast is because somebody was talking about how some of the elders in the church in the past have been really affected by a negativity or challenged. I don't want to call it affected, I want to call it challenged uh, by negativity and spiritual oppression, either physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, those kinds of things. And it triggered me because I am before becoming a member and during when when I am a member, uh, I've been challenged. I've had a few near-death experiences as a child, and also some spiritual oppression as a young adult before becoming part of the church. And so it, the way the person was talking about it was very negative. It really didn't talk a lot about processes of how to overcome these type of things. And of course, there is spiritual oppression. And when you are doing things that will bring people to truthful awarenesses about the church and about their lives. Um, there will be some oppression, but there are ways to talk about it. And so I thought if you're feeling this way, because there are a lot of things going on, tremendous amount of earthquakes recently, and weather events, let's just say tornadoes and things like that, up in Colorado today, early this morning, late last night. There was hail in the middle of summer. I mean, like real destructive hail. And there have been a lot of tornadoes. And here we've had just storms come through here in New Mexico. I'd like to read something by the president, by President Jeffrey Holland, called "Stay in the Boat." And I'd first like to read about from Matthew 8:23 through 27, um, from the New Testament. Oh, by the way, if it looks like there's something kind of circling above, or you hear a wind coming through my office, it's because I don't have central air and it's over 90 degrees right now. That's why you don't see my hair. It's back there. Anyway, just in case you're like, what's going on? Yeah, it's really no big deal. It's what I do. I have a wind tunnel going through my house right now with in whatever room I'm in. And okay, so here we go. So Matthew chapter 8, verses 23 to 27. And when he, Jesus, was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. So the book is they're fishers. They fish. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with waves. But he, Jesus, was asleep. In the Sea of Galilee can get really high waves. It's a large, it's kind of like some of our Great Lakes. And his disciples came to him and woke him up, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he said unto them, Why are you fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Okay? So before we get into the talk by Elder, I mean, he's now President Jeffrey Holland, um, I thought of a song now from Broadway, from Guys and Dolls. There's a song called Sit Down, You're Rockin' the Boat. And the first couple of verses said, the verse says, "Oh, I was on a boat that went to heaven, but I found these cards in my hand and money, and so I wanted to gamble." And then they say, "Sit down, you welcome boat." And then the next one is, "I found a jug of alcohol in my hand. Sit down, you welcome boat." But then here are the other verses that kind of lead into this up top. For the people all said, "Beware, you're on a heavenly trip." The people all said, "Beware, beware, you'll scuttle the ship." In other words, you'll make it rock around and maybe overturn. And the devil will drag you under by the fancy tie round your wicked throat. Sit down, sit down, sit down. Sit down, you rock in the boat. And as I laughed, all those passengers to heaven, about all those passengers to heaven, a great big wave came and washed me overboard. And as I sank and I hollered, "Someone save me." That's the moment I woke up, thank the Lord. And I said to myself, "Sit down, sit down, sit down. You're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. And the devil will drag you under with a soul so heavy, will drag you under." Remember that soul so heavy will drag you under. With a soul so heavy you'll never float. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Sit down, you rock in the boat. Okay? So what is this about? Well, here comes President Holland's talk. Stay in the boat. Don't stand up. Don't let your soul get too heavy. Let's not rock the boat so everybody on the boat will stay peaceful. When challenges and trials come in life, that's not the time to leave. Do not abandon the ship when the waves are a little high. Stay in the boat. He said that's the time to get the life jacket on and hold on. He pointed to the Savior and how he continued through with his astonishing sacrifice. I am grateful that for my sake and yours and everybody we know, and our children and our children's children, that he was able to see that through. Well, we're supposed to see through a little difficult weather, he said. President Holland has previously talked about his challenges of the past. In facing an extended illness, he had, for those of you that may not know, they may not be members of the church, he was in a coma for over a month because of almost kidney failure or problems with his kidney, and he came out of it. And now he talks a lot about not exactly what he saw, but to inspire people to stay. And he dealt with his wife, his wife passed prior to this event of his coma, and they had been married 60 years, his wife Patricia. So this is his talk. We were talking about people who have difficult lives or troubles that come, like everyone who has a mortal life. But we all do. Everybody does. Do not abandon the ship. When the waves are a little high, don't abandon the boat. That is when you tie yourself in and get the life jacket on and you hold on to an oar and you do not move. The worst thing you could do is to leave. Leave the protection of the boat you are in this case, the gospel of Jesus Christ, or whatever your strong spiritual belief is if you are not a Christian. If you're not a Christian, you can go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.org and see what we're about if you're interested. in this case, the gospel of Jesus Christ, and not assume that the first time there's trouble that God hates me, or God does not love me, or he does not answer my prayers. I want to be careful because I don't want to insult anybody, but it's foolish. This is a man who has gone through tremendous difficulties. Talk to the Savior about continuity, about his giving up. What if he had gotten halfway through his atoning sacrifice and said, does not look to me like anybody is very appreciative here, I'm quitting. So this talks about a lot of our challenges that we have. In the middle of our challenges, do we just want to quit because things are getting real difficult, or it just seems like other people aren't supporting you, or you don't seem to have enough money or know where to get certain support, these sort of things. Well, every one of us would be in sorry soup if that is what happened. Thank heavens it was not. And he said and did see it through to the end. And I think we sometimes pass over it in the New Testament account. But I think one of the great things that he said in those final 7 phrases from the cross, he was crucified. One of the sweetest things is when he said, quote, "It is finished. I commend my spirit, and Father, unto thee I commend my spirit." Well, I'm grateful that he was able to finish it. I'm grateful that for my sake and yours and everybody we know and our children and our children's children, that he was able to see that through. Well, we are supposed to see through a little difficult weather. We are gods in embryo. We believe that we are gods in embryo. We teach that. What that means is we follow in the footsteps of Jesus the Christ. We believe that because it's in the scriptures. But how does that happen? What are the mechanics? On the morning of the first resurrection, does the coffin open and somebody jumps out and says, "I'm here, Lord, you know, give me a universe"? Well, I don't think so. I think, like everything else, it is line upon line and precept upon precept. In other words, step by step by step, we learn. Even when we're resurrected, there's a lot of things to learn. We get to practice. If you want patience, well, hold on, because the Lord is going to give you a dozen things to be patient about. Just think about today and yesterday. Were you given things to be patient about? Well, I was driving on a very busy street. People were very impatient, and I was just trying to hold on because I have PTSD from being in 2 car wrecks because people ran their cars into me when I was going through green lights. It's like, oh, going through a green light, like, drunk. So anyway, so when I see people driving recklessly because of impatience, it kind of triggers me a bit. Anyway, the very things you do not want. But that is where you say you need to grow. That is what he is going to give you. If you say, I want to be long suffering, it is just that I do not want to suffer. And I do not want it to be for very long. Just a little bit of suffering, a little bit of patience. That's okay. But I'm really, but I'm really for long suffering. Well, we get opportunities. That is the way it works. We get opportunities to grow and change, experience by experience, child by child, step by step. We just get a chance to begin to work on those things and tick off those things until we hope we have some mastery and we are on our way to the end. In other words, 100%, you got a good grade. Move on to the next challenge. We have not given up. We do not bail out on our marriages. We do not turn our kids away. The sun always comes up. It always comes up so far. Okay. And so we stay with it. We hang on because they give the blue ribbons down the end of the track. You know, you're doing a marathon. You might be walking and not running. You might be jogging. You might be bicycling. You might be rollerblading. You might be in a wheelchair with somebody pushing you. But you get to the end of the track. They don't give them at the first 10 yards. I read a book once by Don Schollander, who was a swimmer at Yale the year before he came there. He was at Yale University. At 18 years of age, he had 26 world records and 38 American records, and he had 4 gold medals from the Olympics. Stay in the boat. And somebody asked him, how did you become a championship swimmer? And he said, you kick when you don't want to kick. You stroke when you don't want to stroke. That's how you win. Stroke meaning stroke. And that means stay in the tank. Stay in the tank of water if you're swimming. You're not getting out. You're not quitting. The only way we get out is in the obvious way, right? Victory is at the end of the road. The victory is at the end of the journey. That is the way it was with Christ. That is the way it is for us. And so if your soul is feeling heavy, remember, you're just in the middle of your journey. You haven't gone further. For the people all said, beware, you're on a heavenly trip. We're all on a heavenly trip. We're all working our way towards that. And the people all said, beware, you'll scuttle the ship. We're all in this together. Okay? And the devil will drag you under. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. And as I laughed at those passengers to heaven, a great big wave came and washed me overboard. And as I sank and I hollered, someone saved me. That's the moment I woke up. Thank William. And I said to myself, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. And the devil will drag me under with a soul so heavy, you'll never float. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. So I hope this has given you some pause as far as whatever situation you're in right now, or find your family members in or friends in. Let's give each other encouragement to move forward no matter what our circumstances. The adversary wants us to quit. Let's stay in the boat and let's move forward. If you or friends or family or you know of people that need prayer, you may go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.org, and in the search box, put in prayer roll and put in the names of the people you wish prayer for. And I suggest you put the name of the words and family after that, because family members are also affected by people that are affected by disease or disorder in their health, their mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. So, with all of the changes going on in our planet, in the weather systems, in the planet itself, in the wars and famine and situations in this 11th hour, let's hold on and keep in the boat. Don't stand up and look around. You're okay. Keep oaring, keep moving forward, step by step, paddle by paddle, and keep moving forward. And I hope this inspires you. Have a good day. Until next time, see you again.